Okay, hello YouTube world. This is David Higgins and I have a new puppy. This is a test. The puppy's name is Pickles. It's a pug, just over 2 months old. It's a female. Pretty good dog. Anyway, my wife doesn't like the name Pickles. She wants to call it Coda, but I think that's a little pretentious for a pug. Pugs are kind of goofy, and this one I think is going to end up being called Pickles. Right, Pickles? What do you think? You want to be a movie star? This is her camera debut. Isn't she cute? Alright, well there you go. There's Pickles the pug. And my name is David Higgins, like I said, and I'm going to record a couple of videos introducing my latest 2 books. This dog will probably get restless and need to be put down, and then it'll probably run around over here in front of me and cause trouble. Anyways, you might as well just go ahead and get started and let it rip. This is completely unscripted, and the video may or may not get posted, depending on how it turns out, of course, as usual. So I'm going to put down the pug, so say goodbye. Mwah. That's the puppy. Alright. Pickles the pug. Oh, there you go. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so I recently posted, well, not very recently, maybe a month or 2 ago, posted a video introducing this book, which is The Metaphysics of COVID-19, Idealism, Disease, and Society. It was my book that I wrote about COVID-19, obviously. And you maybe have watched that video. But this book that I've recently written is titled Emanuel Swedenborg Foundation Principles. Okay, and it is a introductory book that will give an intro and an overview of all of the basic ideas that I think are important from Emanuel Swedenborg's large catalog of theology and metaphysics. So, the reason that I wrote this book is because there are plenty of other good books introducing Swedenborg, but I can't get them cheaply. And I wanted one that I could hand out to my friends and whoever else might be interested. And also, this has, sort of a modern flair to it, and of course it has my, take on Swedenborg, and everybody has their own take. Anyone who's read Swedenborg finds that there's a lot there to chew on and process. So everybody comes up with a little bit different idea about what it's all about, or there's various organizations, and I have a different take than them on some pretty basic sort of things. And so, this book tries to be pretty true to Swedenborg, but of course, it's my take on Swedenborg, so it's going to be something that you need to think about for yourself, and recognize that I do not in any way, shape, or form claim to be an authority, and I don't want anybody to just take my word for things. Swedenborg didn't even want people to take his word for things exactly. He always wanted everybody to put it to the test, see if it makes rational sense to yourself, and see if it works in your life. So the book's called Emanuel Swedenborg Foundation Principles. Here's a screenshot of the table of contents. Let's see, get that in focus. We've got an introduction. There's going to be a short bio of Swedenborg. Then I start out with the world beyond the grave. Because of the pandemic, maybe everybody is a little bit thinking about our mortality, and since apparently lots of folks are dropping dead, although I think the rates pretty much remain the same. It just more deaths are attributed to COVID than other things. But we certainly are thinking about death more with the whole worldwide pandemic response. We're all pretty much can't avoid thinking about people dying or getting sick. So I start out with The World Beyond the Grave. Of course, Swedenborg was a mystic, and he claimed that he could openly communicate with the world beyond the grave. So he has a lot to say about that. And then I go into the divine itself. I try to break down what Swedenborg says about God in essence and manifestation. Then we have Christology, which I don't know if that's a real word, but I used it. Basically, Swedenborg has a very unique take about Jesus and who he is and what the Trinity is all about. Then next I have a chapter on sacred scripture. Swedenborg says that sacred scripture is written in a symbolic language called correspondences, and it is a parable, a spiritual parable. It speaks to us of our internal state, the state of our heart and mind. I talk about the human mind and its basic structure. I talk about regeneration, which is the process whereby we become more spiritual. And I talk about the mind-body connection. Swedenborg has a lot to say about that. I talk about divine providence, which is the rules or the structural ideas that we can use to understand why our lives are unfolding the way they're unfolding. God has a definite purpose and a plan, and he has a very specific idea about how to achieve his goals, and Swedenborg spends a lot of time talking about that. And so I give a basic overview of Swedenborg's take on divine providence. The next chapter is about marriage, which is extremely important, and also it talks about gender, and it gets quite abstract. It's a great concept. Swedenborg devoted a whole book to it, and it's a very good book called Conjugal Love. Then I talk about Swedenborg's concept of usefulness, which he says is the basis of all true religious life, is that a person should strive to make oneself useful to society. Hopefully you'll find this video useful, and this book can be highly useful. So hopefully usefulness is what's motivating me. Then I talk about the end of the age, which is on a lot of people's minds. We always have a lot of zombie movies and apocalyptic post-World War III type stuff going on, and of course everyone knows about the Book of Revelation. And Swedenborg has a lot to say about that. And then there's a conclusion. So I highly recommend this book. You can find it on Amazon Books for a mere $7, I think. And you can get a Kindle ebook version for $1 or $2, I think, maybe $1.99. I think it's very readable, and it'll give you a good overview of a vast catalog of theology that Swedenborg has given us. So anyway, that does it for this video. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you'll order my book, and I hope it proves to be a worthwhile read.